Hi here. Right, well, don't be fooled by Sammy's fun intro. This is going to be an exceptionally boring video on Nalbinding, knitting for masochists. So I'm going to show you, hopefully, how to do the Oslo knot in my own convoluted way of explaining things, and bore you after death in the process. Fan-dabby-dozy. Right, Oslo knot. Everybody's got their own way of going about it. All you really need to do, Nalbinding, I suppose that's why it's practical for LARP or whatever else, is a needle. For the nautically minded, it is a marlin spike, but tiny, with a hole in it. And it's not work. It's not stitching as such, it's not knitting as such, it's creating tightly woven knots to create something stretchy, something a little bit tougher. You know, you put a hole in this and pull it, the knots will tighten, it can't unravel, if that makes sense. So it's fairly hard wearing. There's a pair of socks using this particular stitch in a museum that, well, they're very old. Clever people will tell you how old they are. So, this one's going to be the Jorvik stitch, the famous stitch from the Coppergate socks in that museum in York. So to create this, we'll do it with a bright blue one here, and then we'll carry on with this project to show you how to continue out. If you can see my hands okay, hopefully you can. So you create 3 loops over your thumb. Everything's done over your thumb, which is why you can see bruising on it and all the rest of it, because hooray. Right, so get this, hold it, and then loop. Start looping from the top. So you go 1, 2, 3, you're ready to go. Easy peasy. Right, now we stick it through our null and carry on really, and I'll show you the basics. So you just throw it like you would any needle, sewing needle, whatever else. Drop it on the floor, question life decisions, bring it back up again. Right, there we go. So we've got this little bit here, poking out the end there, this bit here is poking over the top there. So all we're doing is we're creating a loop, tightening the loop, rinse, repeat, keep going, keep going, keep going, until eventually a little knotted thread will pop out the bottom bit here. So let's carry on. So push the top loop up, bring it in a little bit, tighten it up, see it tightening up just between my finger and thumb, tighten that bit up, then that gets put through there and we repeat. And it is as simple as that. So as long as I don't get caught and everything else on this table that I've made out of a Irontide jacket and a sleeping bed. Yes, creativity. Take that. Right, really, that's it. Seriously, that's it. The only thing about Nalbinding as opposed to knitting, crochet, whatever else it is, it's incredibly time consuming. As I imagine they had a little bit more time on their hands during the dark ages than we do nowadays, what with, you know, fun things like the internet and not this. So continue, and hopefully we'll get to a point where I can show you a little bit of the knot appearing out. Pulling down on this every now and giving it a little bit of a nudge, just to make sure it doesn't come loose. Yeah, easy peasy, right? So, I suppose why Nalbinding for LARP or reenactment or wherever else as opposed to knitting? Well, there's the historical connotations, of course. You know, you've got knots that date back to ancient Egypt, you know, in the sarcophaguses and the pyramids that, you know, they exist. These things have been pulled up in one piece, largely, and, you know, it's, so obviously there's the historical connotations with it, and playing Imperial orcs, historical accuracy is foremounts. But it's, I suppose it's just the way it looks. It looks structured, if that makes sense. With knitting or wherever else, you're continuing up and up and up and up and up. With this, it's all done in circular motions, or at least for a glove or a small scarf or something like that. It's done in circular motions, so as you move through the colours of thread, it gives you a little bit of a gradient, and for a kit like ours, it makes it look a little bit tatty, a little bit worse for wear, and a little bit rough and ready as far as delicate knitting goes, which is all positive. And it does lend itself well to like bright colours as well, of course, with, you know, the gradients between colours and all the rest of it. You can make something quite pretty. Anyway, back to the boring stuff. So bringing up the loop again, using my nail just to tighten it up, just because it's an easy way of doing it. Everyone's got their own different way, but push it back down the end, through the thumb, through the other 2 loops, and pull, pull, pull. So yeah, those of you probably who know your knitting or whatever else are probably very confused as to why I'm using a relatively short piece of wool for this. It's done in, I mean, I'm lazy, so I use slightly longer ones because I don't like doing, well, yarning them together or using, you know, secret knots or some sort of sorcery and witchcraft that other people use to bring the wool together. But it's every time you do it, because it's a knot stitch, you have to yarn it together and create. It'll make sense when I get to something else. It's an odd thing to describe that's easy to show, if that makes sense. But yeah, you just attach more wool as you go, basically. So, you know, the length of the garment, this, for instance, it took most of a ball of wool to make these two things here. And yeah, that's a big ball of wool like that. It's not very efficient with its material use. You use a hell of a lot to make something very small. It looks nice, so that's that. Yeah. What to talk about? What to bore you all to tears with while I'm here trying to demonstrate something particularly interesting. You know, I'm sure you're all fascinated by this already. I play an Imperial Orc. He's called Irontide Jarn, and no, the irony of that name is not lost on me now that I'm doing this on video. Yeah, I play in the 2nd Legion. There's not really much to say because I don't really like sharing too much about my character outside of the field, but I suppose to break him down, he's a thief taker. He's not particularly nice to anybody, but again, he's an Imperial Orc, so he's articulate, he's well read, he's well written. You know, I actually learned a little bit of calligraphy to write letters as an Imperial Orc, which is not exactly what you expect to play what is traditionally thought of as quite a barbaric character. You know, orcs in fiction and all the rest of it, but you know, he's a legionnaire through and through, so he would have been educated to an incredibly high standard. You know, trying to break the 2nd Legionnaire meathead stereotype that's been going around since ever. You know, likes talking to people. He's a bit of a history nerd. You know, he'll read books and get very passionate about the written word because it's a way to immortalise a name and a legacy, and creating a legend and having your name live on through generations is incredibly important to Imperial Orcs. Incredibly important. It's perhaps one way to cross the abyss, which is about as abstract as items of worth. There's 101 interpretations for 101 different people, which is good, really. It gets people discussing things. And discussion is what we kind of pay to do in this art thing, isn't it? This whole role play shtick, and then running around like a blue ass fly, wondering where the entire day went. I do Senate Guard there, which is actually surprisingly good fun. You get to get out in a lot of people's faces and be that unknown for a lot of players, especially the newer players. It's a wonderful thing to interact with newer players as an Imperial Orc, because they don't know what to make of you. You're, if they've done their reading, they might have gleaned the fact that you are a potentially incredibly violent, paranoid schizophrenic, which isn't something you want to meet down a dark alleyway, is it? Especially when you come in groups of 2 or 3s, because you're not going to walk around alone, because that's what Reavers do, and we don't talk about them because they don't exist. But yeah, we're starting to get there now. I'll show you how it comes up, and I'll bore you to tears yet more about the wonders of the Jorvik stitch. Yeah. So yeah, see, I've getting it done at a fair pace, so I'm well practiced at this now. Lots of sitting down on breaks and sleep adjusting for work and whatever else, and you pick up hobbies. This is one of them I picked up. Why not, basically? Wanted to originally make a pair of socks, but that fell through because that's witchcraft. You have to do 3 different bloody things to do. The heels done differently to the toes, which is done differently to the ankle bit, which is done differently to the everything. So unfortunately, I've not quite mastered that kind of sorcery yet, but we're getting there. I'll eventually learn. So far it's circles, and circles with holes in them. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm making a hat for my favourite cretin, which he better enjoy because it's going to take me most of my adult life. If he doesn't enjoy it, what I'll do actually. Problems. Yeah, here we go. Starting to get there with this fucking hideous blue thing. So, there we go. That's what you produce. A line of knot. The thing about the Orbic stitch is it twists. You can kind of see it here. So, you untwist it up and all of a sudden you can see order in the chaos. And there we go. There is the start of, at least, the Orbic knot. Hooray. Right, we'll start on with this glove for an unspecified Imperial Orc. Not that you can see it anyway, he said cryptically. So, you can see this has been going on for an age now. We're actually getting to the point where we're going to start popping little holes in it for the thumb. And yeah, keep it going. So I've been using wool which comes in a lot of different colours, similar to this, but obviously a lot earthier and a lot more autumnal looking for this particular one. And these are the same glove, so same set, but I'm trying to make them look a little bit different, just because it's boring to have symmetrical kit as an Imperial Orc, you know, God forbid. So let's crack on. So you can see where I stopped here, and we'll show you how to carry on a stitch through, well, on top of another stitch. Basically you attach it as you go up in circles. So outside of the thumb again, this lead bit of wool, I don't really want to call it lead wool, always goes on the outside of your thumb. And here's our 2 loops that we used previously, so we'll work out which one's which, by which one tightens in what way, and continue. Eventually, after we put this over my poor long-suffering thumb, which you know why there's bruises on it. Right, so I'll figure out which one's which. So I reckon that one's the last stitch, so we'll pull this back. Whee. Bang on. And there we go. So what we're going to do, and hopefully you can see it because it's frayed up a little bit, but we pick up a loop from the top here. So you can see these little lumps here. Each one of these is a loop. So push our nail through the loop, feed the rest of the wool through, eventually, come on. Tightening up a new loop around the back of the thumb. And this one here that we just pulled up, same as ever, through here, through the back, down behind the thumb, through these 2, and out the back. And we pull it just to the side here for ease's sake, because it's going to be going over the back of our thumb again. There we go. Right, it's just a case of keeping it neat. This is why it's an exercise in patience. You know, you can rush this, but it will look rubbish. It'll look loose, it'll be all over the place. Certain rings will be bigger than other rings. Annoying knots like this will appear out of nowhere, and then you just curse everything around you, but not allowed to swear, because otherwise Sammy's videos get demonetised and he pulls a face. I don't know if you can see my face in this, but I'm not happy. Why has this happened, man? How? It's a straight bit of wool. Right, this is when the marlin spike bit comes in. Give me a couple. We're not going to edit this because this is what happens with Nalbinding. Occasionally accidents, and they're not happy little accidents like Bob Ross. These are annoying, horrifying, great big accidents that nobody likes. Right, we'll just pull that through, see what we're doing for how we're doing for ring, because I think we're going to have to tie that one off. I'll show you how to do a bit of yarning. Right, yeah, that's pretty good. So, go back to that knot. A little bit of elbow grease, give it a pull, there we go, we managed to resolve it. Right, well that was less dramatic than I thought. So, top loop again. We got a knot here again actually, let's put it through. I've not done silent knots or anything like that, or secret knots. I've done actual little scruffy knots, but this again is orc kit, and all the little lumps and bumps, it adds a bit of character to a garment. Asymmetry, something that's odd, something that's not perfect, and it shows off that this isn't machine made, it's handmade, because it is quite orderly. So you know, the more it shows off that it's handmade, the better, really. Yeah. What to talk about now? So I suppose the transition from me as a human player to me as an orc player. I've been going to Empire for a number of years now. Started off in Wintermark, hooray, and enjoyed myself. I came in with a friend of mine called Mr. X, because I don't think he'll probably want me to mention his name on YouTube. But Mr. X and I have known each other for absolutely years, bros for life. So we came into Wintermark together and we formed our own little banner. Not knowing much about the game other than it's good. From a player who, I won't mention his real name, but he used to play a character called Redhound. Lovely, lovely, lovely chap, got all the time in the world for him. And, he was talking to us, he's local to our area, and he was talking to us long and hard about this thing called Empire. Okay, now we've got a bit of kit. I used to dabble about in reenactment, so I had some bits and bobs left out. Me and Mr. X, we got all our kit together, did our reading on the brief, and made sure that we were sorted out on advice from the other player. Read, make sure you don't come in ill prepared. And we read up, came in as we thought we were prepared, and then saw the scale of the whole thing. This is a good few years ago now, and shocking. I don't think anything can really replace that first, look at the canvas city that pops up. The shock that there are shops, there's pubs, there's in-character pubs, there's out-of-character, well, nearly out-of-character, the Forge, the out-of-character money, I suppose it is. And there's just hundreds and hundreds of people all involved in their own little personal stories, all these little tales of everybody, really, that's going on. And I got involved quite heavily because I suppose the first event we really got stuck in was Storm Katie, and that wasn't much fun. Nobody really enjoyed that because I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning holding, out on an open field. I didn't have the comfort of a forest or anything like that. Holding my central pole up, as Mr. X's tent had a literal river going through the middle of it because he didn't have a sealed in ground sheet. And figured we'd stick it out. Sharing a tent with a friend of mine. He was an absolute trooper. So he stayed, I stayed for the full 4 days at that point. And which I do miss, actually. I missed the 4-day events. That extra day just to wrap everything up and do nothing but role play. It's missed. I used to really enjoy that. But I got involved with the Iron Raptors just on the off chance they were still there. This was Irregular Props and Light Armories, the two people that run that, who are I'm still very close with to this day. I've got all the time in the world with both of them. Really enjoy talking to the chap who runs Light Armories especially. He's a very friendly guy. Sort this out. And that became a huge part of my game for a very long time, until the Iron Raptors kicked it all in. There's a way for me as a new player to find my feet, get some money, especially, because this is all very foreign, very new. I didn't really know anybody else in the field. My mate whose tent flooded had to get out of Dodge because he had other commitments. He had to get out of Dodge there and then, get his tent sorted out, etc. So it's not his fault. Don't hold it against him or anything like that. Chap who runs Irregular Props and chap who runs Light Armories, they got me sorted right out. Found some game, this mythical plot that everybody's pursuing. Found some of that. Did some genuinely terrible things. I can say that now because the Iron Raptors are no more, but or are they? Ooh. Some genuinely awful things, all sanctioned, and it was excellent fun. Because I came in as a hero of Wintermark. I was a bannerman for the Gallery, our own little banner, and there's a way for me to become an Imperial hero, which is what everybody should strive for. It's a hero system. You are the 1%, no matter what you think. In my eyes, anyway. Maybe other people are open to interpretation, but that's what I think. Moved on from there. I had brilliant fun at Wintermark. I met some wonderful players in Stormspire who, I missed out seeing them last event, and I'm gutted about that, just because I was so busy. Mr. X stayed on with Stormspire. They absorbed him into their banner. Quite a large banner it's a very close group of friends, and he's doing grand for himself there. He's found his own little niche, and I moved on to Vrishka after the character death. Character death was it wasn't planned, shall we say, but we went to go get some, got hired out by the Brass Coast to go recover some white granite, and they you know, they were trying to show that these weren't bits of paper wains, these were actual wains of, oh no they're not, come on, of white granite. So what they did was they, PD supplied these humongous carts, and the goal was to get the cart to the Sentinel Gate. Yeah, it sounds easy enough. The carts were humongous and you had to have a certain amount of players to do them. And it all went a little bit wrong. And me and my friend, not Mr. X, another friend, who we got stuck between the arms of a cart as some incredibly elite Jotun bear down on us. And we got absolutely minced. No two ways, no way of being polite about it. We just got absolutely splatooned against the side of the wall. Yeah, this one's going to have to be undone. There we go. And two. I will show you how to do some yarning in a minute then. Happy little mistake, so. This is Bob Ross skin. So, we've had a happy little mistake. We'll carry on with that story after this happy little mistake is resolved in a happy little way. So I was saying earlier that we're doing it roughly because it's an Imperial Orc, so first thing to do is just reinforce it, make sure it's not going to fray up or anything like that beforehand, so just give it a twist in the way that the yarn is naturally twisting. Grab hold of. Same with this. Just simply tie a knot. And we leave the little bits out because it shows a little bit of fraying, shows it a little bit handmade, maybe it's been repaired at some point poorly. Whatever else, yeah, simple as that. Easy peasy, right? Let's carry on. So, yeah, carts. We got caught between the arms of the cart and minced. Nothing we could do about it. And that was the end of that character. And, you know, throughout and, you know, through the Iron Raptors, I've made friends with a load of guys in Varushka. Lovely group called the Oxenhead, who are excellent players. You know, they put on the accents. They're very happy. They're, you know, happy to see everybody, but very Varushkan. You know, they've got a boy who I think is still around, who probably wouldn't think twice about setting fire to a village if there was a Mora in it. So a proper Varushkan boy, absolutely ruthless. I played a Varushkan, and it was excellent, absolutely excellent. Thoroughly recommend that nation to anybody. It's small enough that your voice can be heard, and the aggregors work overtime. Again, I won't mention names just in case, but you know, those two are unsung heroes of that nation. Probably sung very loudly heroes of that nation. They work incredibly hard to make sure that you are having a good time, and they play their respective archetypes perfectly. You know, excellent people to be around. They do make you aspire to sort of up your game a little bit, sort yourself out, because you've got these guys that you don't want to be shown up by them, which is good. That's a really positive thing. So I had excellent fun playing a Varushkan. I had even more fun meeting my Nalbinding mate Irontide Jarn as a Varushkan mine owner, and explaining to him that I was a wealthy Varushkan mine owner. Yeah, we were best friends. Yeah, and I carried on for that, had great fun, and went to, again, an Iron Raptors sanctioned event called Bladesfall, and it was held in Skarsind. The territory that we were fighting in was in Skarsind, so the Imperial Orcs turned up en masse, because Skarsind at that point and continuing is the Imperial Orc homeland. You know, it's still quite fresh at that stage, so you know, everybody, all the Imperial Orcs came along, and that's how I met a lot of the players that I now play with, you know, the Irontide. You know, I met big personalities, you know, Scar, I met Rock, who was a Sunhammer at the time, absolute deviant. I met Crag, who was again a Sunhammer at the time, another deviant. He was drinking a lot of tea. And the Generals meeting, the infamous Generals meeting, which genuinely broke a Varushkan Draugr into tears of laughter. He had to crawl out the tent because he was laughing so much. And less said about that one, the better. But yeah, and that's my first encounter properly speaking to and role-playing with Imperial Orcs. You know, I had a pit fight with them. Excellent pit fight, actually. It turned into a rumble, completely naturally and organically. I was playing with, obviously, my Varushkan, and I rolled up against Irontide Scar. Fantastic. The general of the 2nd Legion is absolute unit of a man. And piddly little old me. And we, through certain secret measures, we figured out how the match was going to end. And it was a superb match. Scar picked me up and threw me back like a rag doll. I managed to get Scar on my shoulders and did a little bit of a flip on him as well. It was all really, really, really good stuff. Lots of elbow drops, lots of twisting ears. I role-played headbutting him, and of course orc bones are denser than human bones, aren't they? So I fell over half dazed after that silly mistake. And then we had a burp off after a drinking contest around the pit, and Bloodcrow Yargle himself, the man, the myth, the legend, bottle of Prosecco in hand as always, tried to pass over a bottle of Prosecco for the second round of the drinking contest and fell into the pit, and Locke leapt upon that opportunity like a madman. Going on about how the pit's been, we need to drag one out, one other one in. This has changed the terms of the fight in the pit, and it turned into almost a Royal Rumble. It was excellent, and all accumulated again with me coming in at the end, encouraged by Yargle again. Him slapping me back, saying, "Right, Scar's down, go and finish it up," after someone else had beaten the life out of him. So I came in not really knowing what pit fights were all about at the time. I thought it was kind of like pro wrestling, just because you as a human character, you hear about them, you don't see them. It's only come into prevalence because of the likes of Ashbourne Bull and before that Bloodcrow Ask, working very, very, very hard and very, very, very well to promote these things for everybody to come and see. So now there's even posters getting made by certain people, he said cryptically, who advertise it to everybody. So you can come and watch, during certain special events, you can come and see the Imperial Orcs fight, and you can see the pit fighters do all their work for it. It's an incredible amount of work they do. And it's but I've gone on a bit of a tangent. I didn't know what it was all about, so I thought it was like pro wrestling. So I went in and tried to pin Scar, won, and Scar being a delicate Imperial Orc, called it a draw because you don't want to lose to a Verishkin. And that was the end of that. And I was sold. So right, I'm going to be an Imperial Orc, and I'm going to be Irontide. These are the people I've been interacting with. I want to be one of them. So, over the long dark of that same year, got talking to a couple of people over a voice app, and one of these people was very keen on it. It's gave me a lot of good advice and a lot of solid advice on the kit. It was both nice and nasty, but all needed. It's good to be told. Other people's opinions differ. It's good to be told when you're not doing well, and this person told me when I wasn't doing well, and I'm really quite pleased with my kit because of it, to be honest. I've come out and I think my kit's pretty good. It certainly portrays a character who I am now, and that was it. I came in Irontide, and here I am as an Irontide, stitching for you, knitting, knotting, doing 10th century crochet. But the rest is history. Got welcomed into it. It's probably the best welcome I've ever had to any nation. Verishka were great. They were very supportive, and everybody was very kind. But I've never had the kind of advice freely thrown at you about maybe you should look at this for your kit, or maybe that war skirt's not so good there. What if you try something like this? Just from everybody, and there's never any malice in it or anything like that. It's to quote somebody else, the better you look, the better everybody's view. And it's a strange position being an Imperial Orc. As soon as you put the mask on, you're yourself. You're there to have fun. That's what you're paid to do, first and foremost. But you're also an experience for other players. A human player will look at you with a mixture of, whether if they're brand new, a bit of a mixture of wonderment and awe, wondering what you're all about, what you do. Are you a barbarian delegate or something like that? What are you? and the more experienced players, you're something to, in that little forbidden part of the field, that's perhaps a friend or a trade partner, everything. So you've turned yourself into a bit of an experience for other people. I think that's a good way of looking about it. It's one thing to do your own thing and have fun for yourself, but it's even better to provide fun for other people. Whether it be a visually striking character. I've got my edgelord scars all down me mask, and or something dangerous and unknown. So it's help. The other player would have to think. Engage the little grey cells a little bit before communicating with you. And are you on your own? Are you going to be a little bit more tact in your speech and a little bit more cautious because you haven't got your friends around you? Have you got your friends around you? Are you bolstered with the confidence of being around other legionnaires, etc., etc.? It's good. It's a very challenging place to be, and I like it. You obviously do your best to play the best character you can. Whatever nation, you get your archetype, and you hit that archetype as hard as possible to do as well as possible to provide A for yourself. And if you're doing it correctly with your archetype, like some other people have mentioned earlier on, you provide a lot of game for a lot of other people. And the more game you provide for more people, the better your legacy will be. So, it's your goal. Earn your legends, become an ancestor. That is your end game as an Imperial Orc. Will people remember you for the right reasons? Have you benefited the nation as a whole, not just your own little banner, not just your own little niche of friends? There's Barry over there getting some game because you did a little bit of groundwork. What about Steve and Sue sat down in their campsite over there? Do they know who you are? Do they know what you are? Do they know what you do? If not, why not? So that's with the Thief Taker game. We've been trying to get the Culprit's Walk done for a long while now. Through horrifying various poor magistrates, and been a bit of a hype. Get people talking about the Thief Takers. I think that's the goal of the night. Get people talking about and remember that they exist. It's been a dead archetype for a long time, and hopefully things will come from that. You can see what I'm doing with the Nalbinding anyway. That's what we're doing, right? Continuing this loop, and we're going to continue that until it. Well, obviously it's all stretched out over my fingers at the moment, but we're going to continue this until it is this, and then we're done. And I don't have to look at this for a week or so, and I'll be happy. He said bitterly. But if Sammy has us back for it, this is the Orvic Stitch, of course. Sammy there's a bit more work involved in it. We'll go through that one perhaps. Hopefully on a less grand scale than all of this, and maybe perhaps not so long on a video, but hey, you get to listen to me boring you after death. Hooray! Sat down on a camp bed covered with an Irontide jacket on a stepping stool that belongs to me other half in a pink gym. Where adults, you see. But that is the very, very, very basics of Nalbinding. Hopefully through just watching the rinse, repeat, carry on, you've got the idea of how long it takes, which is time consuming, what roughly to do with it, and how to treat your wool, which is surprisingly delicately. You can see here things fray up. If you get straight like that, it's delicate, so you keep it twisted. I've got some wool from hand spun wool as well from another player, which I can't wait to start on. It's probably the most expensive stuff I'll ever work with, period, because I don't like spending money on anything ever. But I'm going to make something special with it. I've got some brass bells and things like that, some beads, and I'm going to try and make it look as orky as possible. I'm really looking forward to doing something with that one. This is why I learned the Orvic Stitch 4 actually. A lot of this was trials to learn it for that, because there's only the Oslo knot I used to know, just because it's not quick, it's slower than this, but it's simpler. Alright. Let's tighten that one off. Leave it be. Thank you for listening to me bore you. See you around.